Discover the incredible moment. A poor girl saves a millionaire's life during a heart attack. Emma, just 17, was no stranger to hard work in her bustling suburban town. Juggled 3 jobs while caring for her single mother brought out a fierce determination in her. The late-night shifts at the local diner were the toughest, filled with the smell of frying food, clattering dishes, and the constant hum of chatter. But there was something comforting about it, like a shared bond with the other workers and the regular patrons who provided a sense of community. This day, however, would flip her world upside down. As the heat of the fryer radiated against her skin and friends laughed over lunch specials, a figure entered the diner, the kind of person to evoke whispers. Thomas, a businessman with a chiseled jaw and tailored suit, had a reputation in town as someone untouchable, someone who walked in privilege. Today that privilege would wear thin. "Emma, can you take his order?" her manager called, oblivious to the storm brewing just feet away. She approached Thomas's table, heart hammering. He looked up, eyes buried in the weight of his own silence. But it was the flicker of despair in his gaze that sparked an unyielding resolve in Emma. No sooner had she placed the coffee on the table than the air shifted. The clinks of glasses faded into silence. The buzz of conversation dulled to a whisper. Then, with a convulsing gasp, Thomas clutched his chest and collapsed. Chaos erupted. Emma's heart raced as she navigated through the shocked crowd, her training as a volunteer first responder kicking in. "Get help!" she shouted, voice firm as she dropped to her knees beside him. She could feel the panic rising in the diner, but amid the swirling voices a holy calm settled over her. She remembered her training, the rhythm of CPR, the pressure points, the breath. "Come on, stay with me," she urged, willing him to respond. A few feeble moments stretched into forever as she fought against the tide of fear creeping in. His eyes flickered open just once, and in that fleeting moment there was a spark, an understanding that lived beyond their worlds. As sirens wailed in the distance, she continued pressing his chest, heart pounding against the reality of who he was and who she was supposed to be. The diner faded, the people blurred, and all that existed was the urgency of the moment. Time would not allow their differences to matter. It was life and death. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In the days that followed, as New Year's resolutions shifted into fresher air, the diner was awash with whispers. Emma was suddenly a heroine in town. And Thomas? He was recovering, but he was different now. There was a warmth in his gaze when he spoke of her bravery that neither had anticipated. But as their bond blossomed beneath incredulous stares and pervasive gossip, complications arose. Emma faced the scrutinizing judgment of neighbors who deemed her unworthy of mingling with the elite. At the same time, Thomas battled with the constrictions of his background, questioning what it really took to connect on a human level. As the weeks passed, Thomas pondered how to honor Emma's act, how to acknowledge that someone like her could save someone like him, redefining their worlds. Yet, the obstacles piled high. Emma's fight to uplift her family clashed with the fear of social backlash, tugging at her heart. Standing on the cusp between two worlds, Emma faced a crucial moment, one that could transform the town's narrative of privilege and worth. She exhaled deeply, wondering if she was ready to step into an unknown future. Would courage and love be enough to bridge the chasm separating their lives, or would societal boundaries pull them apart? As uncertainty loomed, the question hung heavily in the air. Could they rewrite their stories together? Emma felt the weight of the world pressing down on her shoulders. The whispers that had once been merely background noise were now piercing her like arrows. It felt different walking through town, knowing that the same people who had shared smiles with her were now looking at her with suspicion and judgment. The diner was a haven, but stepping outside was like stepping onto stage for a performance that felt all too real. Meanwhile, Thomas was back in the public eye, But he wasn't the same man who had waltzed in with arrogance just weeks ago. He carried the enormity of his near-death experience with him, and it illuminated his view of the world. In the beginning, he just wanted to thank Emma for saving his life. What he hadn't expected was a growing admiration for the very person society said should stay in her lane. One day he found himself sitting in a cafe, sketching out plans in his notepad for a foundation that could help those in need. The ink flowed freely, but it wasn't just numbers and ideas that filled the pages. It was a vision of Emma at the center of it all. Her strength, her determination, her dreams. He wanted to create something meaningful, something that would shatter the barriers that defined their lives. If only it could be more than a dream. Emma was at work, clearing tables, her thoughts swirling with the day's challenges. Her mother's health had taken a turn for the worse, and each day felt like a thin ice that could crack underfoot at any moment. The diner, crowded with customers, provided a loud but comforting backdrop to her worries. Yet when she glanced at the door and saw Thomas walking in, all her concerns faded into the background. "Emily!" Thomas called out, his voice slicing through the din of chatter. A few heads turned at the mention of her name. Correcting him in front of everyone would only deepen the gap she felt in society. "Come here." As she reached his table, she could feel the pulse of curiosity rippling through the other patrons. "I've been thinking," he said, excitement glinting in his eyes, "about what you did, and how people need to see that we are all human, no matter our backgrounds." Emma's heart raced. "What are you proposing?" she asked, cautiously excited yet fearful of where this conversation might lead. "I want us to start something together," he said, passion lighting his features. "A project that can help those in need, your friends, your family. A way to give back." He took a deep breath. "Together." The words rolled around in her mind. Together. It sounded just right, but a little voice of doubt whispered in her ear. "Are you sure? I mean, you know how people will talk." "I don't care about them," he interrupted. "I care about what you and I can do. I care about you, Emma." His words hit her like a wave, washing away her fears. But as swiftly as the tide came in, uncertainty followed. Was it possible for them to join forces, to create something that would truly change lives rather than merely placate society's expectations? Over the next few days, she contemplated his proposal. It was both thrilling and terrorizing. As her mother's health worsened, Emma felt pressure mounting on every side. Could she take the leap? Could she trust that something beautiful could emerge from this relationship? The night was dark, the moonlight a mere sliver when she finally decided. She had to talk to Thomas again, but as she stepped outside to find him, a disturbing thought crept in. What if society ripped them apart before they even began? With her heart racing and fear clawing at her insides, she glided through the shadows. Would circumstance intervene once more, or was this finally her moment of truth? As the uncertainty loomed, Emma took a deep breath and whispered the question to the wind. Could love truly conquer all? The air was thick with tension as Emma stepped into the quiet streets. Shadows danced under the dim glow of streetlights, and for a moment she felt like they were mocking her courage. How could she risk her heart again? Just the thought made her stomach flutter with anxiety. But she couldn't ignore that glimmer of hope either. She wandered through the neighborhood, retracing the steps of the past. Each creak of the sidewalks brought back memories of laughter and warmth. But now, the faces of those who had once been kind felt detached. Where would she even find Thomas? She barely had time to process her thoughts before his figure emerged in the distance, illuminated by the glow of his phone, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Emma!" he called, eyes lighting up with relief as she approached. The intensity of his gaze made her heart stutter. "I was just thinking about you. I hoped you would come." About what you said at the diner." She struggled, her words wrapped in hesitation. "You really mean that? About us starting something together?" A nod from Thomas, firm and sure, ignited something warm in her. "More than ever. I believe we can change lives, Emma. But I need you in this. Not just for your ideas, but for you." That simple honesty pulled her in, lightening the gloom that had cast a shadow over her heart. I want to believe we can do this, but fear, right? He stepped closer, inhaling deeply as if trying to collect her fears into his own. I know what you're thinking. The whispers, the judgment. It's exhausting. But think of all the good we could do. We can't let fear decide our fate. Just then, a group of young adults walked past, their laughter slicing through the moment. Emma shifted her gaze, and in that split second, she could feel the coldness of their stares. No longer were their eyes warm with recognition, they were frosted by prejudice. See, how do we fight that? She whispered, feeling her resolve slip. Together, he said softly, determination lacing his words like threads of steel. We take a stand, Emma. If we can show them that compassion bridges our divides, maybe that's where we start. She pondered his words. The thought of being at the forefront of a movement not only excited her but also terrified her. What if we fail? What if we fly? He countered, humor sparkling in his eyes. You've faced far worse than whispers. You saved me. You can do this. Behind him, the city felt alive, pulsing with the hope they both needed. It was as though the universe was urging her on. Could she really step out of the background and into the light? Deep down, she knew that staying quiet would mean giving in to the noise, a choice she had been making for far too long. Taking a deep breath, Emma nodded. Okay, let's do it. But we need a plan. Thomas grinned widely, the weight of hope lifting off his shoulders as he pulled out a crumpled napkin filled with scribbles. I've already started brainstorming ideas. We can host community events, workshops, reach out to people. Together. Excitement bubbled in her chest. For the first time in ages, she felt empowered. They were in this together, ready to take on the world. But as their plans unfolded and laughter filled the air, her phone buzzed violently in her pocket, bringing her crashing back to reality. With a sudden sense of dread pulsing through her veins, she pulled it out. The screen flashed her mother's doctor's name. The message read, "We need to talk, urgently." Her heart sank, a wave of despair washing over her. Thomas, I can't... My mum... His expression shifted immediately from joy to concern, and in that moment, she felt every ounce of hope dwindle. What if this was it? What if she had to fight yet again, but this time alone? As she stood frozen between her family's need and the promise of a new beginning, the question echoed in her mind. Was she strong enough to face both worlds? Emma's breath came in shallow bursts, the weight of her mother's urgent message pounding in her chest like a drum. She looked at Thomas, whose kind eyes were now filled with worry, and she felt her whole world tilt. Did everything have to change so quickly? I have to go, she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. The excitement from moments ago seemed to evaporate into the night air. A simple message wasn't just a call to her. It was seismic. Could she really just step back into her life and all its challenges? Emma, wait. His hand reached out, grasping her wrist gently. You don't have to do this alone. Let me come with you. We can figure this out together. The fight within her flared up again. She wanted to reach out for that lifeline he offered, but the instinct to shield Thomas from her family's struggles tugged at her heart. No, you don't understand. This isn't just a little problem. It's complicated. It might only drag you into my chaos. Tell me about it. Let me be your chaos, he insisted, an intensity in his voice. There was no way he could comprehend the emotional storm brewing in her life, and yet he tried. Emma looked away, staring into the shadows that loomed around them, dark and oppressive. It's my mum. They need to talk about her health, and I can't let you see that side of my life. Emma, I want to be by your side, he pushed, the warmth of his support breaking through her defenses. If you let me in, it won't be chaos, it will be just life. Life hasn't been kind lately. She felt the tears waiting at the edges of her vision. I don't want you to see me weak. I've fought so hard to be strong. You're the strongest person I know, he replied, leaning closer. Your strength doesn't come from not feeling. It's how you rise despite it. Give me a chance to support you. All the air left her lungs. She was used to carrying the weight of the world alone, but Thomas, with his unwavering gaze, challenged that belief. What if I fall apart? she finally whispered. Then we'll pick each other up, he said quietly, as if articulating a vow. But you have to trust me, you're not meant to do this alone, trust that we can fight this together. For a fleeting moment, Emma was caught in the weight of possibility, the idea of not having to shoulder it all by herself. She imagined a reality where she could be vulnerable and still be loved. Yet, the familiarity of her fear loomed larger still. Then came a noise from her phone, a series of frantic messages flooding in, each one further pulling her back into her reality. Each ding felt like a reminder of her responsibilities, her family's turmoil. I need to go, she said again, but this time there was an unmistakable tremor of hesitation in her voice. Then let's go, Thomas said, in a tone that held no judgment, only resolve. You don't have to face it alone, Emma. Wherever this path leads, I want to be there. Looking into Thomas's eyes, she felt that flicker of hope again, a spark against the encroaching darkness. What if he was right? What if facing the truth didn't mean losing something beautiful, but building something stronger? Emma made her decision, heart racing with a mix of fear and excitement. Okay, she finally breathed, determination taking root. Let's go. As they started walking toward her home, the city lights dimmed behind them, giving way to the shadows of uncertainty ahead. But this time, she marched hand in hand with courage and vulnerability, no longer alone. Yet the closer they approached her house, the more doubt swirled in her mind. Would her mother's health force her to choose between family and a new path? Little did she know, the evening held more surprises, ones that would challenge not just her notions of strength, but also the very fabric of her tight-knit family. With her heart thumping in a rhythm of anxiety and readiness, Emma couldn't shake the nagging feeling. Could fate unravel her tightly knit life just when she was ready to weave a new one? Emma reached her front porch, the familiar creaks beneath her feet echoing the turmoil in her heart. Each step was heavier than the last, the weight of expectation and fear pressing down on her. She glanced at Thomas, who looked as if he were ready to face anything alongside her, his presence both comforting and terrifying. As she opened the door, the air inside was thick with tension, an almost palpable energy that buzzed between her and the chaos waiting within. The front hall, usually filled with laughter and warmth, felt like a battlefield. Her mother's voice was raised, strained, muffled by closed doors leading to the living room. "Emma, you're back!" Her father's relief was visible, his furrowed brow easing as he caught sight of her. But the echoing sense of urgency in the house remained. "What's going on?" Emma asked, stepping inside, trying to keep her voice steady while her insides churned with anxiety. "Your mum, she's trying to explain something, but I think she needs you here." The weight of his words hung heavy, and Emma could feel the stirrings of dread clawing at her. Together they moved toward the living room. The familiar scent of her mother's lavender candles filled the air, impossibly at odds with the sinking feeling in Emma's stomach. Thomas stayed close, his presence a steady reminder that she didn't have to face this alone. Inside the living room, Emma saw her mother sitting on the couch, weariness etched on her face. For a moment it took Emma's breath away, seeing the woman she thought of as invincible looking so fragile. The sight churned a storm of emotions, fear, sadness, and an outpouring of love. This was her rock, and the thought of her crumbling felt like a thunderclap. "Mom!" Emma's voice cracked as she sank to the floor beside her mother's feet, searching her face for answers. "Emma, darling, Her mother paused, tears pooling in her eyes. "I wanted to wait for you to talk about my health. The results." Her voice trailed off. The room seemed to hold its breath, the clock ticking louder in the silence that followed. Emma's mind raced back to the message that had pulled her into this moment. Her mother was sick. But how sick? She held her breath, bracing for the storm. "Just tell me, please, what did the doctor say?" Emma needed to know. Her mother bit her lip, visibly struggling to find the words. "It's not what we expected. I'm still processing it." A lump formed in Emma's throat. "Mum, just say it." "I have early-stage cancer," her mother finally whispered, and the room shattered. Those words pierced the space between them like glass. "No, no, no." Emma shook her head. grappling for heavens and earth that seemed to collide in her mind. This couldn't be happening. "We will fight this. I won't let you go." Thomas stepped forward, laying a supportive hand on her shoulder. "You're not alone in this, you have each other." Her mother looked up at Emma and Thomas, bewildered yet warmed by the support. "I don't want you to worry about me. I need you to be strong." Strong. The word echoed painfully in Emma's mind. It was what she had always been, and now she felt like the earth was giving way beneath her feet. "But I don't know how," she replied, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Together we will learn," Thomas assured, his hand squeezing her shoulder reassuringly. Emma turned back to her mother, who wiped her eyes tenderly. "Just because we are facing a mountain doesn't mean we can't climb it together." Feeling the momentum of shared fear and hope, Emma took a deep breath. "What do we need to do?" But just as the initial resolve began to take shape, the phone blared, cutting through the delicate silence, a notification from an unknown number glaring on the screen. Emma parted her lips to answer, but her gut twisted. What now? Could this new wave of uncertainty bring yet another challenge, just as they were beginning to face the first? Emma's heart raced as she stared at the phone. The screen lit up like a beacon, almost mocking in its brightness against the heaviness of the room. She instinctively reached for it, but the weight of her mother's news, of the looming fight ahead, made her hesitate. "Do you want me to get it?" Thomas asked softly, his gaze steady, still holding onto her shoulder. Emma shook her head, biting her lip. "No, I need to answer." She took a deep breath and hit the button, the tension within her thrumming like a taut wire. The voicemail notification blinked ominously. She resisted the urge to spiral into anxious thoughts. Shaking her head clear of racing worries, she clicked on it. The voice that played was too familiar, yet filled with unfamiliar urgency. "Emma, it's Marcus. I need your help. It's important. I can't do this without you." Her heart pounded against her ribcage. Marcus, her childhood friend who had always been there through thick and thin, never sounded this frantic. "What does he need help with?" Emma wondered aloud, her eyes flicking towards Thomas. "Shouldn't you call him back?" he asked gently, concern blooming on his face. "Yeah, but my mom—" Emma's voice faltered as she turned to her mother, who was watching her intently, a mixture of worry and encouragement on her face. "Maybe it's a good distraction for both of you," her mother suggested. "You need to take care of your friend and I'll be just here." Emma hesitated one last moment, torn between the immediate needs of her family and the pull of a friend in distress. "Okay, just give me a second." She dialed back Marcus's number, heart sinking as each ring echoed her uncertain feelings. When he finally answered, his voice tumbled out, breathless and alive with urgency. "Emma, thank God, I had an accident in the lab. I need you to come right away." "An accident? What happened?" Emma's heart dropped, fear washing over her like a cold wave. "It's complicated. Can you just—" He paused, inhaling sharply. "I've got to get a project done. I messed up. Please, I can't face this alone." His words slammed against her chest. She felt her own fear of not being enough collide with his desperation. "Marcus, are you hurt?" "No, not me, but please." His voice cracked in a way that echoed her own emotions. Emma's instinct kicked in. "Okay, I'm coming. Just tell me where to find you." The answer arrived amidst a whirlwind of adrenaline and anxiety. She glanced back at her mother, who noticed the shift, the determination sparking in her daughter. "You need to go, Emma," her mother said, her own fear for Emma's friend hidden beneath a steady resolve. "I'm okay. Promise me you'll take care of yourself too." Emma's eyes shimmered as she reached down to squeeze her mother's hand. "I will." But even as she said it, the unspoken worry loomed in her heart. With a quick embrace of Thomas, she rushed for the door, feeling the weight of her mother's eyes on her, each step feeling heavier still. The familiar streets called her into the night, and as she turned the corner, a flicker of fear mixed with hope ignited inside her. "Emma?" Thomas called after her, his voice weaving into the night. "Stay with my mum," she shouted back without looking over her shoulder. "I'll be fine." But the truth was she had no idea what awaited her. As headlights glinted off the pavement and her pulse quickened, she wasn't just running to help Marcus. She was racing into the unknown, unsure of what challenge awaited them. What if this night changed everything for all of them? Emma fought the swirling emotions inside her as she hurried down the dimly lit street. Each step propelled her forward, but her mind was tangled with questions. What kind of accident had Marcus gotten himself into? Why did he sound so scared? Turning the corner, she caught sight of the lab building, a stark silhouette against the night sky. The glow of fluorescent light spilled out from the doors, creating an inviting but intimidating warmth. She hesitated, her heart pounding harder. Stepping closer felt like crossing into another realm, one charged with anxiety and urgency. Inside, the smell of cleaning solvents and metal hit her immediately. The sound of machinery hummed in the background as she darted past rows of glass equipment and busy students. Each footfall echoed louder in the stillness of her racing thoughts. She finally spotted Marcus at the far end of the room, his hair disheveled, eyes wide and darting like a cornered animal. "Emma!" he exclaimed, relief flooding his features. "You came!" "What happened?" she blurted, rushing to him. Panic surged in her chest. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine, but I messed up the experiment. If we can't fix it, the project, it all falls apart." His voice trembled as he grabbed her hands. Emma could feel the heat radiating from his skin, anxiety pulsing through each touch. Okay, let's see what we can do," she replied, steeling her resolve. Taking a deep breath, she examined the workbench overflowing with papers and equipment. "What do you need me to do?" He pointed to a chaotic mix of bottles and samples. "We need to recreate the volatile substance, but at a lower concentration. I made it too strong." His eyes darted to a clock on the wall. "We have less than an hour before the deadline." Curtains of doubt fluttered around her. She wasn't a scientist, she was just Emma. But Marcus's need ignited a spark deep within her. They weren't just fighting against the ticking clock, they were fighting against everything that was expected of them. "Okay," she said, focusing. "Tell me the steps. I'll take notes and you guide me." Nervous energy surged between them as they began to work. He explained each process, his voice steadying her jittery heart. They measured, mixed, and documented, the urgency igniting a determination that grew with each passing minute. As they forged ahead, Emma noticed something shift in Marcus. He began to breathe easier, the frantic lines of worry slowly relaxing on his forehead. A smile stretched across her face as she saw him regain some confidence. "You've got this," she encouraged, feeling the tension ease. "Just keep your head clear." Suddenly a loud crash jolted them both. They turned as a heavy lab equipment rack tipped over, sending a shrill alarm blaring through the air. Adrenaline surged through her veins as she turned back to Marcus, but a wave of lightheadedness washed over him. "Marcus!" He barely steadied himself against a nearby table. "Get back!" she yelled, pushing him away just in time as the rack clattered to the ground. The sound echoed harshly, and Emma's heart raced. For a moment, she feared he might not recover from the shock. "Emma!" he croaked, clutching his chest. His complexion slipped from pale to green. I can't breathe." "Oh no." Emma's voice trembled as panic surged within her. She had to act fast. She moved closer, gripping his arm. "You need to breathe. Focus on me. Inhale. Count with me." As he struggled to respond, Emma's own heartbeat echoed louder in her ears, blending with the beeping alarms around them. She couldn't lose him. Not like this. The seconds felt like hours. She guided him through deep breaths, trying to remain calm for both of them. "Please, Marcus, hold on, we can fix this together." And just as the noise began to fade away, the unexpected happened. An electric connection that surged between them hinted at a deeper bond than friendship. She felt his grip tighten, his eyes locking onto hers with a clarity that felt raw and powerful amidst this chaos. The moment stretched, time hanging in balance, until finally his breathing slowed, returning gradually back to a steady rhythm. "See? You did it," she whispered, still holding onto his arm. But as they both breathed a sigh of relief, she wondered what they had truly awakened within themselves. "Emma," Marcus began, his eyes flickering with something profound, leaving her hanging on his every word. But just then the lab door swung open, revealing a familiar face. Thomas. His expression twisted in confusion, scanning the scene until it locked onto the chaos around them. "Emma, what's going on?" he breathed, concern flooding his demeanor. Emma's heart sank. She had not anticipated his arrival. How would she explain this? Suddenly, everything felt uncertain again, as if the ground was shifting beneath her once more. In that moment, Emma realized they were on the brink of something far beyond the experiment, and uncertainty gnawed at her. What would happen now when the truth began to unfold? Emma's heart raced as Thomas's gaze drilled into her. The mix of confusion and concern on his face made her stomach twist. He was supposed to be just another classmate, but tonight, everything felt amplified. It's not what it looks like," she stammered, quickly releasing Marcus's arm. She could feel the heat rising to her cheeks, and any moment of clarity they had shared vanished like smoke in the wind. "That's exactly what it looks like." Thomas stepped further into the lab, eyes darting between them. "What happened to Marcus?" "Just a little accident," Marcus said, trying to mask the tremor in his voice. "We were working on the experiment and—" He trailed off, swallowing. "An accident?" Thomas's brows furrowed. "That alarm, what happened?" Emma knew they couldn't brush it off. "We had a small mishap with the equipment, but Marcus is okay now. We just need to focus on fixing the experiment." She set her jaw, determined to regain control of the situation. Thomas sniffed, skepticism washing over him. "You expect me to believe this is just a small mishap?" "Just help," Marcus interjected, the slight edge in his voice surprising them both. "We need to work together if we're going to salvage anything." The tension hung heavily in the air, palpable like the smell of metal and solvents that engulfed them. Emma's eyes flicked back to Marcus, and in that moment, she saw something different, a glimmer of confidence in his eyes that encouraged her to fight back against Thomas's scrutiny. "All right," Thomas said, crossing his arms, his annoyance simmering. "Then show me what you have." Without waiting for an answer, he moved toward the cluttered workbench, scanning the disarray before them. Emma held her breath, fueling her anxiety with the weight of their expectations. "Okay, so, Marcus started, fumbling with a few pages of notes. "We're trying to adjust the concentration of this compound." As they spoke, Emma glanced at Thomas, who was now deeply focused. Part of her yearned for his approval. She had spent years fighting to carve her place in the world, and this moment felt so raw, so critical. "Look," Thomas said, finally softening as he studied the two of them. "I know you care about this project, but the stakes are high and, just like our lives," Emma shot back before she could stop herself. Emotion surged inside her, pushing her voice louder. "Life isn't just about assignments or grades, Thomas. It's about who we are and what we can become." The silence in the room was thunderous. Marcus's eyes widened, and Thomas looked taken aback. Emma felt adrenaline course through her, and a realization dawned. This wasn't just about the experiment anymore. It was about their personal battles too. "What do you mean?" Marcus's voice broke through the stillness, curiosity mingling with a hint of disbelief. She met his gaze, understanding exactly what was at stake for them both. "I mean, this moment, it's too important to just let it slip away. We can't let fear or confusion or anything keep us from reaching for something greater." The room buzzed with fresh energy, a shared understanding igniting between them. They were all in this together, tangled in their insecurities, yet united in their purpose. Thomas took a deep breath, and his demeanor shifted. A flicker of respect crept into his features. "Okay, then let's get to work. What do you need from me?" Emma's heart swelled with gratitude. Perhaps they could all grow from this experience, beyond science, beyond grades. As they collaborated, an unexpected sense of camaraderie enveloped them. They were no longer just classmates or adversaries. Instead, they were something more profound, a team battling against uncertainty. But just as Emma felt the weight of their combined determination lifting her spirit, a faint sound echoed from the hallway, a low rumble like distant thunder. "What was that?" she asked, alarm piercing through the moment of unity. Marcus stiffened, eyes locked onto the door. "I don't know, but it doesn't sound good." Her pulse quickened again. What else was about to unfold? What challenges awaited them just outside the lab? Emma felt an exhilarating surge of fear mixed with anticipation. Would they truly be ready for whatever came next? The rumble grew louder, echoing down the hallway, and Emma felt a chill crawl up her spine. It was as if the world outside the lab had shifted into something dark and menacing. "Do you think we should?" Marcus started, his voice barely above a whisper, trailing off as his thoughts turned to the possible dangers lurking just beyond the door. Emma instinctively moved closer to Thomas, who had tensed, muscles coiled like a spring. "Stay alert," he said, eyes narrowing on the entrance. The lines around his mouth tightened, revealing an unexpected intensity that was both alarming and captivating. The sound morphed into a series of crashes, like a bookshelf toppling over, followed by shouts mingling with the chaotic noise. In that moment, fear gripped Emma like a fist. Was it just an accident, or was something more serious unfolding? They should check to see what was happening, but they were also aware that the situation could quickly spiral out of control. "I can't just sit here," she said, her voice shaking with a mix of fear and determination. "We have to see what's going on." "Wait!" Thomas raised a hand, stopping her. "We don't know if it's safe. We should stay here and call for help." "Do you really think anyone is going to come in time with that racket?" Emma shot back. A flicker of something dangerous ignited in her chest. She had never backed down, and she wasn't about to start now. "If there's someone out there who needs help, we can't just let it happen." Moving instinctively, Emma pushed the lab door open. The hallway lights flickered ominously, casting erratic shadows along the walls. She peered into the darkness, heart hammering in her chest. Marcus followed her cautiously, glancing back at Thomas, who was still inside the lab, torn between following or staying. But Marcus took a step forward, his resolve solidifying. "We should see what's happening. If it's serious, we have the equipment. We might be able to help." "Okay, but stick close," Thomas finally relented, joining them in the wide corridor, his voice graver than before. "No heroics." As they ventured into the dimly lit hallway, the noise crashed over them with renewed intensity. Emma led the way, fueled by adrenaline and determination. They turned a corner to find a group of students gathered near one of the classrooms. Panic was palpable in the air, and Emma could see someone on the floor, motionless. Her breath hitched. "Is that Jason?" she asked, squinting to see through the crowd. Memories of their casual conversations flashed through her mind, his easy smile and warm laughter. "Someone call 911, a frantic voice shouted, breaking through the haze of terror. "He collapsed! Stay back!" a voice barked from within the throng, perhaps a faculty member trying to create some distance. Emma pushed her way forward, ignoring Thomas's restraining grasp. She had to see. When they finally reached the front of the crowd, her heart sank. Jason lay unconscious, the color drained from his face. She rushed to kneel beside him, feeling a mix of fear and resolve mixed in her gut. "What happened?" "I don't know," a girl cried. He just fell." Emma glanced at the others, panic-stricken faces filled with uncertainty, no one knowing what to do. Her mind raced as she instinctively reached for Jason's wrist, feeling for a pulse. A faint thrum shocked her. Too weak. "Marcus," she said, voice steadying. "Can you check his breathing? Thomas, can you get the first aid kit?" "On it!" Thomas bolted back toward the lab, while Marcus knelt beside her, hands trembling. They couldn't lose him, not now. As they worked together, Emma poured everything she had into the situation, drawing upon more than just lab training. It was instinct now, born from that earlier moment in the lab where everything had changed. They were all there, together, facing something far bigger than just a project. Time stretched as they hovered over Jason, desperate for any sign of life. But as a sense of dread began to settle, Emma blocked it out. She took a deep breath, hoping against hope that they could conquer the odds stacked against them. They were a team, weren't they? But just as hope sparked inside her, Jason's body jerked, sending shockwaves of panic through the crowd. Emma's heart pounded as she locked eyes with Marcus, their shared fear turning into something electric. What was about to unfold? Would they be able to pull through this test they never saw coming? In the swirl of chaos, Emma remained anchored by a fierce determination. A tight knot of anxiety and conviction coiled in her chest as she positioned herself beside Jason, feeling the gravity of the moment weigh down on her. The world outside faded into a blur, and all that mattered was that they needed to save him. "Jason, can you hear me?" she called, her voice steady but taut, ringing with urgency. His skin was cold and clammy, but she refused to give way to fear. Marcus focused closely on Jason's chest, counting breaths and rhythms, a mirror of Emma's pulse that beat steadily against the backdrop of his precarious situation. Moments felt like hours, and every second that passed tightened the grip of worry around her heart. Thomas darted back from the lab, a first aid kit in hand, the tension in his expression cooling into a calculated resolve. "What do we need?" he asked, eyes sharply fixated on them. "Just hurry. We need to stabilize him," Emma instructed, pushing aside the swell of fear threatening to drown her. With the kit open, Thomas brought out bandages and antiseptic, though he clearly understood the urgency lay deeper than physical wounds. Together they worked seamlessly, a well-oiled machine of hope and teamwork, as they assessed Jason's condition. "We can't just wait for more help," Marcus insisted. "He needs CPR. We have to act fast." Emma nodded in agreement, quickly guiding Marcus to take the lead. They joined forces once more, shifting into life-saving maneuvers. "You remember the rhythm. Everyone, stay focused and breathe," Emma instructed, reminding them of their training, even as her heart raced wildly. With their hands on Jason, the weight of the moment enveloped them, a palpable connection holding them tightly while the world faded away. Each compression pushed hope into Jason's fragile state, forcing them all into an unyielding commitment to this life at stake. Minutes dragged painfully until finally, an unexpected gasp escaped Jason's lips, fluttering beneath the pressure of their determined efforts. Emma and Marcus shared startled glances, their collective breath held tightly until they felt the slightest hint of life returning. "Keep going!" Emma shouted, adrenaline pumping through her veins. And then, as if breaking through the darkness, Jason's eyes fluttered open. Dazed but alive, he blinked against the overhead lights, confusion mingling with understanding. "What happened?" His voice was hoarse, but filled with a flicker of consciousness that lit up the room. "You collapsed," Emma breathed, relief flooding through her as warmth filled her eyes. "You're okay, just hold on." The crowd erupted into gasps and murmurs at this sudden shift, a tide of disbelief morphing into a raucous symphony of relief and hope. As paramedics finally arrived, cascading lights illuminating the corridor, Emma felt a surge of profound transformation. With Jason now being tended to, she turned to Marcus and Thomas, excitement fizzing in the air that had been tinged with overwhelming fear mere moments ago. It wasn't just about saving Jason. It felt like they had collectively fought against the odds, a testament to resilience that reached beyond this single moment. "Maybe we are stronger together than I ever realized," Thomas said, a soft ember of understanding glimmering in his eyes. "Yes," Marcus replied, looking at both of them with newfound purpose. "We faced one of our fears tonight. None of us backed down." Emma felt the warmth of gratitude spread through her, and a smile tugged at the corners of her lips. "Together," she said, embracing them both, feeling their strength and newfound bond coursing inside her. As the emergency team loaded Jason onto a stretcher, Emma felt the burdens she carried shift slightly. In that moment of solidarity, she realized they shared more than a lab project. They had come together in a way that meant fighting for one another, the rich ecosystem of friendship rooted in love, loss, and hope. They stood side by side, witnessing Jason regain consciousness, his grateful smile shedding light into their dark corner of doubt. Life began anew, and with it came a rush of possibilities that they were not just students, nor the girl from the diner or the elite businessman. They were friends, allies striving to uplift each other and the community around them. As the night wore on, laughter bubbled among them. They exchanged light-hearted banter as they walked outside into the cool air, almost tasting the triumph lingering in their hearts. Though challenges lay ahead, they no longer faced them alone. They discovered that the groundwork for a change had begun with a simple act of humanity, their stories intertwined irrevocably. "Let's make tomorrow better," Thomas dared, eyes sparkling with hope. Emma nodded, firmly believing they could rewrite the narrative of their town together. "Yes, we've got to build something powerful from all of this." Hopeful hearts lifted as they stepped into the morning, The dawn of new beginnings washing over them like sunlight melted through clouds. And as they moved forward, Emma knew she'd step into the light, unafraid to transform the world around her, shoulder to shoulder, with those who understood her fight. "Let's show them what we can do," she declared, eyes wide with potential. The three stood tall, their bond stronger than societal norms, more potent than whispers, ready to inspire change, not just for themselves, but for everyone who felt as though they didn't belong. United, they would face the noise together, boldly declaring they were here to stay. And that was just the beginning. Now, if you've loved this incredible journey of transformation, don't hesitate. You need to subscribe now for more exclusive stories that will inspire and touch your heart. This is the moment to show your support and prove you're part of this amazing community. So smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. We want to hear from you. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. How did it move you? And don't wait, not even one more second, to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can create a wave of positive change.